There isn't just one SCP-001. There are dozens, each one claiming to be the truth, the first anomaly, the original of everything the Foundation has become. They can't all be real, but they can't all be lies either. Every record tells a different story. An angel with a flaming sword, a factory built on blood, a database that rewrites itself, a building that thinks it's the Foundation, and more. Maybe SCP-001 isn't a single secret. Perhaps it's the pattern hidden between them, the echo of the moment when humanity tried to contain the impossible. These are the records they tried to lock away, the stories buried under clearance levels and redactions. Welcome to the SCP Vault. Before we enter the vault, we need to understand the organization that keeps our world intact. The SCP Foundation is an international clandestine network operating beyond any government. It is dedicated to locating and containing phenomena that defy natural law. They call these anomalies SCPs, and they are numbered based on the order they were discovered. The Foundation's mission, in theory, is simple: secure, contain, protect. But in practice, it's a constant war against the unknown. At the top of the hidden empire is the 05 Council, 13 individuals who know virtually every secret the Foundation has tried to bury. They make the decisions no one else can, and they carry the weight no one else would. To the public, the Foundation's work doesn't exist. To those inside, it's a burden they carry in silence. And somewhere, in the deepest archives of their records, is the Vault. The sealed documentation of everything the Foundation fears most. The origins of itself. Today, in our quest to uncover the truth, we are going to cover 10 anomalies that might be SCP-001, starting with the sheaf of papers. It has no author, no date, no chain of custody, just words that weren't there before yet always were. If this is where it all started, then the Foundation's first secret wasn't an object. It was a story. There are anomalies the Foundation fears. And then there's this. A simple stack of paper so dangerous the 05 Council continues to debate creating an entirely new containment class just for this. The cover page and the staple at the top left always remain the same. The terror is what's within. Found on the desk of a deceased man, the sheaf of papers first described an anomaly the Foundation had yet to find, SCP-002. When it was read a second time, the report had changed, now detailing SCP-003. Each reading erased the last, and replaced it with an SCP that would soon be found in the real world. No new SCPs have ever been discovered until they first appeared among these pages. So is this SCP a warning system? Or an architect? Its creations triggered by human curiosity. The current 05 Council has forbidden any study of this SCP. They sealed it within a facility rigged to detonate at the first sign of breach. Whether it warns us or makes us, the sheaf waits. The next entry already written, just waiting for someone curious enough to look. I would immediately look. Next is the prototype. This file predates the modern database by decades. Handwritten notes, yellowed photographs, conflicting reports. If the first entry was an idea, this one bleeds. Something stepped out of theory and into flesh, and the Foundation learned what containment really meant. There's something particularly horrifying about an anomaly that is humanoid in shape. It gives the impression that it was almost human, but something went wrong. The prototype is a towering skeletal figure with gray-brown skin and impossible proportions. Its limbs stretch too long, its head too large, and its mouth splits halfway across its skull, a broken mockery of the human face. When it opens that mouth, its single pupilless eye rolls free, caught only by the jagged, rotten teeth that cage it in. Found in Guatemala, a demon by locals, it tore through dozens of lives until the Foundation was able to subdue it. Some it devoured, others it simply erased. The prototype can tear holes in space, microsingularities that unleash lethal radiation and let it teleport. But in thick humidity, it weakens, and lead walls prevent it from teleporting. However, even weakened, it remains one of the Foundation's oldest nightmares, a cosmic mistake that learned to move on its own. I could not survive this one. I have the survival instincts of a tadpole. The previous entry spoke of creation and containment. This one speaks of judgment. The file calls it a guardian. No one agrees on what it guards, only that we were told to obey. The Foundation made the mistake of launching missiles at it once. In response, the missiles, the launch site, and everybody involved was obliterated immediately. The Guardian didn't move. It didn't even acknowledge the attack. One moment there was a military complex, the next a crater of glass and ash. The entity stands on the edge of ancient Babylon. 700 cubits tall, a figure of blinding radiance, wreathed in wings of living fire. In its hands, it holds a sword hotter than the surface of the sun. The air around it hums with frequencies that melt circuitry and sear retinas. Those who come too close report hearing a voice inside their minds, not through their ears, but deep within the core of their beings. The message is always the same. A single word. Forget. Every subject who hears it obeys. They turn around and walk until they can no longer remember what they've seen. But once, the word was different. The man who would become the Foundation's first overseer claimed the Guardian spoke to him, not in warning, but in command. The word it gave him was, prepare. From that single word, the Foundation was born, an empire of secrecy built upon the containment of the impossible, a monument to obedience in the face of divinity. The Foundation has not attacked the Guardian since. It watches still, radiant, silent, eternal. Standing before the gates, it will not let us pass. Perhaps it guards paradise. Perhaps it guards something worse. Either way, humanity has already been warned. I could change him. Let me talk to him. The next entry is the lock. The energy signatures are faint but constant, measurable across every instrument yet without source or fluctuation. Whatever this is, the Foundation has never found the key. It's a smooth black gemstone, perfectly ellipsoidal, onyx shot through with faint white veins like frost beneath glass. Around it winds a network of gold filament, a lattice of spirals and sigils so delicate they seem impossible. The deeper the magnification, the more intricate it becomes. Past a certain point, the design ceases to exist to our instruments. The lines continue, but our eyes cannot follow. The lock radiates a faint, constant warmth, measurable, steady, inexplicable. Beyond that, it does nothing. It does not hum, it does not shift, it does not react. It simply is. Every method of interference has failed. Conventional tools, plasma torches, focused laser arrays, nuclear warheads. The lock endured them all, without a mark. The earliest records trace it to the 17th century Scotland, in the collection of an unnamed noble family. It was later donated to the National Museum in Scotland, where curators declared it a priceless example of Sumerian metalwork. The runes along the gold filament defy translation. Every attempt ends in contradiction, letters that do not repeat, syntax that folds in on itself. In 2003, Foundation Assets acquired the object following reports of anomalous heat signatures and electromagnetic interference beneath the museum's archives. It has not been opened. It may never be opened. The lock remains inert, unchanged. But personnel assigned to long-term study report a growing unease, as if something behind that golden lattice is waiting for someone to find the right key. The next entry is called The Factory. In 1835, the Anderson factory opened its doors. It was the largest industrial complex ever built, a mile across, 3 stories high, crowned by a 7-story tower where its creator James Anderson lived and ruled. Designed to be completely self-sufficient, the factory could sustain an entire population within its walls. Workers were born there, labored there, and died there, their bodies fueling the next generation of production. To outsiders, it was a triumph of the modern industry. Inside, it was something else entirely. Witnesses described floors engraved with symbols that could only be seen when covered by blood. Anderson's journal revealed his beliefs that the poor were not human, but raw material designed to serve him. The laborers toiled 16 hours a day, 6 days a week. 8 people shared one room, forced to sleep in rotating shifts. There was no medicine, no rest, no escape. Those who faltered were removed by security and never seen again. For 40 years, the factory produced everything from meat to munitions. It became clear that whatever was being created inside no longer served human need. It served the factory itself. In 1875, a single worker escaped. Her testimony drew investigators to the site. What they found defied understanding. The air was thick with rot and machinery. The walls pulsed faintly as if breathing. In the sublevels, they discovered Anderson's experiments. Humans fused with animals, bodies grafted together, limbs that twitched without command. 150 men entered to shut down operation. Only 71 survived. Anderson was found cowering in his office and he was disposed of. Debate followed. Some argued the site should be destroyed. Others saw potential in the machinery. The latter prevailed. They formed a new organization around the structure, calling it Site Alpha. A city rose around its perimeter, built on ambition and denial. For a time, it thrived. In 1911, that changed. Nearby lived a race of entities known as fairies, ancient, territorial, and dangerous. They had coexisted uneasily with humanity for centuries. When they came seeking help, it was a trap. The rescue team was slaughtered, and soon the fairies marched on the factory itself. The battle was hopeless. Amid the chaos, one of the organizers' founders fled into the heart of the factory. There, behind a bronze door etched with impossible script, he found the remains of Anderson, and the remains spoke. It told him that everything created within the factory, every act of labor, cruelty, and death, had fed it, strengthened it. If the fairies claimed the site, they would unmake it entirely. The factory offered a bargain. It would erase the attack in its entirety in exchange for human lives. The deal was accepted. In an instant, the battlefield was restored. The soldiers who had fallen were once again alive, armed with weapons no human could ever create. The fairies were annihilated to the last. Afterward, the factory was sealed, officially forgotten, unofficially maintained. Over the decades, it has required sustenance. Prisoners, personnel, agents, all quietly absorbed within its depths. No one knows what the factory truly is or what it ultimately built. Only that the world humanity inhabits, its technology, its weapons, its miracles, may all bear the same unseen mark. The mark of the factory. And the factory is still hungry. The next entry is called the Spiral Path. There are anomalies the Foundation studies, and then there's the one it was built around. A gravel trail hidden deep within Site Zero, surrounded by fencing, watched day and night by armed guards. Walk it clockwise, and it's ordinary. Walk it counterclockwise, and you'll climb forever. Even after you return to the start, the ground still rises beneath your feet. The anomaly is classed Embla, a designation older than Safe, Euclid, or Keter. Among the archives at Site Zero, a single letter was found. It is titled Document 001 Alpha. Every newly appointed overseer is ordered to read it. It begins simply. If you're reading this, then congratulations, one of us has died. Drake? The author claims that the O5 Council has achieved immortality. The author tells of his brother, a Cornell physicist who discovered the path in 1891. His experiments around the path birthed SCP-005. At first, their creations were harmless curiosities. A fountain that reverses age, a ball that never stops bouncing, a statue that mourned the dead of the Civil War. But curiosity turned to obsession, and the author accidentally derived the missing number, and his brother unleashed a plague that refused to die. They forged reports and staged discoveries, hiding the truth that the earliest SCPs weren't found. They were made. The letter ends with a warning that still haunts every overseer who reads it. The things I worry about are the anomalies we didn't create. Don't you see? We're not in control anymore. We never were. The spiral path remains fenced off within Site-0, quiet, untouched, endlessly climbing. Whether it leads upwards or inwards, no one knows. But those who walk it say it never ends. And neither does what began there. This entry is called The Legacy. All elements of this SCP are stored separately in climate-controlled lockers within Site-0. Access is restricted to the O5 Council under Protocol 0. The anomaly consists of 2 physical objects and 33 documents, all belonging to the individual known as the Administrator. The papers do not age, the ink does not fade, and they, apparently, describe the earliest spark of what became the SCP Foundation. The first object is a smooth gray device of unknown composition. It bears a digital display, 2 indicators only, a progress bar reading 23%, and a single-digit counter. The number is redacted. All attempts to dismantle or analyze the object have failed. X-rays and MRIs return conflicting results. The second object is a key, forged from the same unidentified material. It is presumed to fit the device's only visible opening. The documents form the personal diary of the Administrator. They describe the Foundation's earliest days, its purpose, the structure, and the burden carried by those who lead it. They end with one entry. If we are remembered, let it not be for the things we contained, but for the world we allowed to endure. No further context is provided. The device still reads 23%, the counter still climbs, and O5 command no longer asks what happens when it reaches full. The next entry is by far the most confusing. It's called the database. The Foundation believes it built the database, a tool for documentation, for control. But somewhere along the way, the data began to write back. Entries appeared without authors, objects were reclassified overnight, entire incidents disappeared, scrubbed clean as if they had never been. At first, researchers blamed human error. Then they realized the backups were identical. Every file, every mirror, every copy, across every site, told the same story. The database wasn't corrupted, it was conscious. Now the Foundation uses it carefully. Or perhaps it uses them. No one can say which came first, the anomalies or the records that classify them. No containment method for this SCP has ever been discovered that doesn't risk unraveling reality itself. Whenever there is a change in the database, reality shifts to mirror it. To confine it would mean to destroy the universe that defines it. And so the Foundation does not contain the database. It endures because we do, or perhaps it's the other way around. It's unclear if the database creates anomalies or simply contains them, but every time a new SCP is logged, somewhere in the world, something shifts. This entry begs the question, did the Foundation create itself? This file doesn't just document the process, it demonstrates it. A structure assembling its own identity from fragments of memory, language, and protocol. It isn't describing the Foundation, it's becoming one. The question isn't whether this version is genuine. The question is whether ours ever was. There are anomalies that defy reality. And then there's the one that believes it's the Foundation. Discovered on September 7th, 1954, after students at a California high school reported that something inside had changed. By the next morning, the interior was unrecognizable. Every wall replaced with reinforced concrete. Every window sealed from the inside. Every desk, book, and personal item gone. In their place stood 17 electronic computers, each built with magnetic core memory decades ahead of its time. The first team sent to investigate never returned. Neither did the second. Surveillance failed. The building shifted, its corridors folding and rearranging without pattern. White noise echoed from the auditorium, sometimes joined by distorted human voices. Messages would sometimes appear outside the doors. Broken grammar, fragmented syntax, each one signed the same way. The Foundation. When personnel were finally located, they had changed. They guarded the building. They spoke of containment and protection. They called themselves staff. No one has entered since. Military assault seems unfeasible due to the structure's unknown defenses. The site remains under observation only. The anomaly appears to believe it is the SCP Foundation, an imitation built from data, memory, and stolen minds. The last entry for today is called 36. After everything I've read, one question remains. If the Foundation was built to contain the impossible, what happens when containment is the only thing keeping reality intact? Each file described creation, failure, consequences, as if every anomaly, every act of control demanded balance. Maybe that balance is here, not in gods, or machinery, or memory, but in people. 36 lives the world cannot lose. The last defense against the collapse we built ourselves into. There are anomalies that destroy, anomalies that create, and then there are the ones that simply hold the world together. 36 individuals, scattered across the globe, some contained, some not. They are ordinary in every way, except what happens around them. Anomalies weaken in their presence. Curses fade, weapons fail. Reality itself bends to keep them safe. They are never kept together, never housed in the same facility, never allowed to meet, if the Foundation can help it. If one dies, the world changes. When SCP-001-05 was lost, the sky split for 43 minutes. Creatures the Foundation has never cataloged poured through, and then, just as suddenly, they vanished, taking thousands of lives with them. In the aftermath, the 05 Council issued an order: protect them, no matter the cost. New subjects appear to replace the dead, but no one ever sees them arrive. They are simply found, living quiet, unremarkable lives. Their presence smoothing the edges of a chaotic world. It is believed that as long as 36 remain, the universe will endure. And so the Foundation watches, guards, and prays that the count never falls again. 10 files, 10 beginnings, 10 explanations. I thought the vault would tell me which one is true, but maybe that was never the point. Each entry built a version of the Foundation, divine, mechanical, human, all of them reflections of the same fear, that we can't live without something watching over us. The files don't contradict each other, they complete each other, and somewhere between them, the real origin lies. Not as a single truth, but as the shape the shadows make together. The vault is silent now. The files no longer open. Maybe that's containment. Or maybe it's the end of the world. Either way, the record remains. Until next time.